Morning, everybody. Good morning.
Morning, good morning.
System settings. Let me change something up real quick. Come on, baby. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There we are. Sound. And here we go. All right, cool. All right, let's try that again. Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I need to change a setting in my Zoom here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, we should be good now. All right. Leo, Daniel, Tom, Chester. Who else we got in here? We have the whole crew in here. Oh, Derek's coming in. Where's Keith? Keith's not here yet. Okay. All right, good morning. Well, let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. Good morning. What do we got for wins yesterday? Okay, before we dive into wins, since we have so many waiting, let me address something real quick. Daniel, you haven't been here for a while. Did you listen to yesterday's replay?
I did not know.
Okay. Now that's going to lead me to ask another question. When's the last time that you watched a replay?
A replay? Probably the last time we had one of our solo meetings.
Oh, okay. All right. So now that leads me to another question. We're just going to do a deep dive discovery here. If you weren't here yesterday for training and the day before or whatever, what's preventing you from watching the replays?
Oh, nothing good. No good reason, I suppose.
No good reason? Okay. Do you feel like you would benefit if you got training that other people got that you didn't get?
Well, certainly, yes.
Okay. Do you want to get better?
Well, yes.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, if you want to get better, do you feel like watching the replays would help you get better?
Yes.
Okay. So if that's the case, are you willing to commit to, if you don't make the meetings, that you watch the replays every single time?
You're asking me to commit every single time?
Every single time. Yes, sir. Everybody else shows up.
Okay.
I show up every single time.
Yes.
Right? So if you don't show up live, will you commit to watching the replay every single time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. You promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
You can't handle the truth, Jeremy.
Okay. I like it. All right, good. All right. So with that being said, since you missed out on yesterday's meeting, Daniel, I want to ask everybody that did attend, and by the way, that goes for Keith as well, what I just went over with Daniel, even though you just hopped in, so you probably didn't hear the whole thing. But for everybody that did watch or that was here live or did watch the replay, how many of you guys actually meditated yesterday?
I did.
All right, Leo, that's one.
I did in the steam room, today in the sauna.
Okay, so not yesterday, but you did today.
Yesterday and today.
Oh, good. Awesome. Overachiever. Sweet. Derek?
Yeah, I kind of have my own methods, I guess.
Okay. So tell me your methods. Enlighten us.
Yeah, it happens a lot while driving, of just being able to just focus and slow down, kind of like a sniper, because you hear about, like Chris Kyle, where he was getting himself physiologically to a place where he was basically squeezing the trigger in between heartbeats.
Interesting.
Just slow, just to kind of relax and slow down.
Yeah, that's that. I will give you credit that when I was in my vehicle, I rarely listen to music anymore. I used to be one of those guys that had the big subwoofers and the amplifiers and stuff and liked to shake people's, windows when I rolled by. But now I'm to the point, I still kind of miss that sometimes, but I rarely listen to music. And for a while, I've also been the guy that would listen to like audiobooks and podcasts while I drove. And while those are good things as well, I think that there is a way that you can kind of be still a little bit, but I will say, I don't think that you're getting the full effect. All right, and while you can do things your own way, I would challenge you to give it a try, and see what happens. And when I say give it a try, I don't mean try it for like a week or something like that. I would really challenge you to give it like, I don't know, give it a month. Try it. That's just a personal challenge. Okay. Well, good. All right. So going back to the wins, Daniel, were you out selling yesterday?
I went 0 for 2, but I didn't present anything on site. So
Okay. All right. Gotcha. So basically, it's a follow-up game from here now, right?
yeah. Well, since the last time we talked, last week was a $40,000 week in sales. So I guess that's a win.
Okay, that is a good win. $40K a week. Good job. Now, my challenge to you is how do you respond this week, right? Because what would you say is your average week? 25, 30?
Yeah, that's safe. It's on the high end of safe.
Say that again?
It's on the high end of safe.
High end of safe. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'd say like 20's probably like mid tier for
average.
like 15 to 20.
Okay.
So 25 is a pretty good week.
Okay, so 25 is a good week. 15 to 20 is an average week. You did double what you normally do, right? So you're like, hot damn, I'm hot stuff, right? All right. So then the question is, how do you respond from there, right? Especially when I was younger. And oh, by the way, Daniel, just so you know, because you did miss a couple of days, there was some points in here that was made about you specifically that you might want to go back and listen to. Okay.
Made about me?
Yep, about you specifically.
No bad things, I hope.
No, just about you being young. That's all. And an advantage that you have over some of these old guys. So going back to what I was saying here, when I was a younger salesperson, when I would have a good week, I would coast. Or if I had a good month, I would coast. I'm going to open it up to some of the old guys too. Leo, have you ever had that experience where you had a really good week and then or a good month or a good day or whatever, and then you kind of coasted the next day or next week or next month or whatever, or a good year?
Yeah, I definitely have been guilty of that.
Yep.
Pull back, not try and close as hard. Yeah.
So
I guess get lazy would be the right way to put it.
So and you're kind of beating yourself up a little bit, and it's normal. It's not a matter of laziness per se. What it boils down to is it's identity. Okay. So if Daniel, being a young, strapping young man, is selling $20K a week, and let's just say he's making 10%. If he's making $1,500 to $2,000 a week, he's like, hot damn, I'm 20, something wet behind the ears, and I'm out earning all my other peers I went to high school with. I got guys that went to college that aren't making as much money as me. I'm doing pretty darn well for myself, right? And then, but then he still kind of maybe and I'm just projecting here, Daniel, okay? I'm just telling you kind of how I would have felt when I was your age. I'm not saying you feel this way because I haven't asked you. But it's one of those things where if my identity is someone of making I feel like I'm worthy of making, maybe 40 to 50K a year, and now I'm on pace to making 100K a year, there's going to be ways that I'm going to self-sabotage. I might end up overspending because, if I'm only view myself really as being worthy of earning $1,000 a week, and I made $2,000 this week, well, now I'm going to go blow that extra 1,000. Right? And then what's going to happen is I'm going to kind of slow down. I think I always use the metaphor of a thermostat. Okay. So if you have your thermostat set at 70 degrees, I know this may be repetitive for some of you, but for the newer folks in here, if your thermostat in your house is set at 70 degrees and today it's almost 100 degrees outside in Oklahoma, that thermostat, when it gets up to 71, 72, it's going to kick on, right? The temperature, meaning your income, we'll say. It could be anything in your life. It could be your weight. It could be whatever, okay? It gets a little too hot, and it's time to cool it back down, back to 70 where it's supposed to be. In a couple of weeks from now, or like a week from now, cold front's coming through, Sunday or something like that, we're going to have lows in the 40s or 50s or something, and then it's going to be, the highs is like 60s or 70s. So if it's a little cold in here, the heater's going to kick on if the income is a little low, right? If I'm not hitting my gym as much as I should, I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit and apply some pressure. Okay, if I'm closing 40K in a week, like Leo said, the next week I might not close so hard. Or if I had a really good day, I might kind of relax the next day. Here's the beautiful thing, guys. You can still have that detached emotional, like I want you to have that emotional detachment that Leo just kind of talked about, where it's like, it's no big deal. If they close, they close. They don't, they don't. I want that, but I still want you to keep the standards for yourselves. So if Daniel's averaging 15,000 to 20,000 a week, if that's his standard, what's his goal? So let's talk about that, Daniel. While we're on it, we're just going to role play. Because I missed you, brother. Just give me a chance to talk to you. All right. So if that's your standard, 15 to 20K, what's your goal every week when you go into it?
Probably to top that. I can't say that I have a numbered goal for an amount to sell. Typically, it's the efficiency metric when we look at it every week. I want to be above 2,000 a lead.
Okay, all right. So like the net volume per issue. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Let me show you. Let me find a picture on Facebook. I need to save this on my computer just so I can find it easier, so I don't have to sort through everything. This may be new for all of you guys. I don't know if I've covered this with you guys or not. So who wants their basic human need for variety met this morning?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I say
Let's do it.
Okay. Let me find it. And even if you have already seen this before, albums. If you have already seen this before, am I still meeting your need for variety because you don't know what I'm going to show you?
I don't know.
The answer is yes, by the way. Okay, let's find it. Boy, I have to go back for this one. It was a long time ago. It was from December. So I got to go way back. Okay, trying to go through Facebook. Okay, so we're getting closer now. That was when I met Tony. That was a good day. Okay, here we go. All right, let's do a little screen share. So we're going to do a little goal setting session for everybody. This will be beneficial for everyone. All right, do you guys know what I'm going to show you?
No.
Who's seen this before? Has anybody seen this picture? Any of the Aho guys? If it's fresh content, that's awesome. That means I'm getting stale. All right, here we go. So everybody sees my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so this is called the 7 steps. All right, the path, 7 steps. All right, so number 1, whenever we want to set any goal, so this is going to be a great little, video for content for the channel here. Anytime you want to set a goal, Tony has this ultimate success formula. I want you to write this down. Ultimate success formula. And it's 4 steps. Step number 1 is get clear on the outcome or the result. Okay, so if we were going to ask Daniel what his goal was, and he said, well, I don't really have one, Is he clear on what his goal is?
No.
Okay. And if he goes and thinks about it a little bit further and elaborates and says, well, I want to beat my goal of, or the standard of the efficiency, the $2,000 net volume per issue, if that's his goal, right? Is that clear?
Yes.
I would say no. Because here's why. If the average efficiency goal is $2,000 net volume per issue, and let's say for the week, Daniel, you did $2,001 on net volume per issue, would you feel happy with that goal?
I would not consider that a win. No.
Okay, good. See how it's not clear now, Leo?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Number 3 thing on this. Now, if you do $2,000 of net volume per issue, or let's say, okay, so if 2001 was not the goal, Daniel, what is the goal? Let's get clear on the goal.
Probably raising the bar to 2250 sounds pretty reasonable.
Okay, raising the bar, the standard, to 2250. Okay, and what will be the outcome for you if you are able to achieve 2250 in a week of net volume per issue?
I would make more money, I suppose, at least per lead.
Would you though?
I was going to say at least per lead. I'd be working more efficiently, so I would feel like my stops were less of a waste of time.
Yeah. So let's say this: how many leads on average do you work a week?
15 ballpark.
Okay, so let's say 15, and you did 2250 per lead. I'm not a math magician, as I like to say. So let's pull up my calculator. 2250 times 15 is $33,750. And you're working on a flat commission rate, is that correct?
Correct.
10%, is that correct?
7.
7. Okay. Okay, so that would equal $2,363. Okay, so what happens, Daniel, if you came in next week and you did $2,500 of net volume per issue? How would you feel about that?
I would feel happy. I feel like that would be a win.
Okay, what if you only ran 10 leads, though?
I would still feel like that was a win because I'd know that I was doing the job correctly. I just didn't get the opportunity to showcase it on the volume that I'd like.
Okay, so 25,000 times 7%. 25,000 times 7% is 1,750. So if your goal was to make $2,363 and you only made $1,750, would you be happy?
No.
Okay, so then the goal isn't 2,500 or 2,250 because it's the desired outcome, right? Success formula number 1. The ultimate success formula is get clear on what is the desired outcome or the goal. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we need to get clear on what is the desired outcome or goal that would make Daniel happy. So Daniel, let's swing number 3. What would be the desired outcome or goal that would make you happy every week for now?
For now. I'd say $2,000 a week in income.
Okay, perfect.
Because that would get me up over 6 figures at a year.
Barely.
Just barely.
Just barely. If you took no vacation days. Okay. All right.
Correct.
So $2,000 is it. And then you can reverse engineer it and say, hey, on average, I run 15 leads a week. If I run 15 leads a week, $2,000 divided by 7%. Is that how you would do it? You can reverse engineer it. Like I said, I'm not a math magician. I'll let you figure that on your own. Okay? So you need to figure out what your average is. If you were to go into your, let's just say somewhere between this mark here, if you were to say 15, 2250. So let's just say 2100 was your net volume per issue goal that you needed to hit times 15 leads. That's 31.5 times 7%. That's 2205. Okay, so let's say $2,000 times 15. That's 30,000 times 7%. That's 2,100. Okay, so even if you did 1,900 times 15 leads, that's 28 times 7%. 1995. Okay, so roughly, if your average goal of lead flow is 15 leads, you need to do roughly $1,900 a lead in efficiency net. Okay, to equal 1,900 times 15, just to go back and do this again, 28,500, okay, which would equal at 7%, 1995. If you made 1995 a week times 52 weeks, you would be over $100,000.
Yeehaw.
Okay, cool. You happy?
Well, not satisfied for the rest of my life, but at 22 years old,
Yeah.
$100,000, I'm pretty happy with
Right
that.
now, because that's your identity. That's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now, can you see how we're more clear on our goals now? That's step one of the ultimate success formula. Okay? Getting absolutely clear on our goals. And then step number 2 is I want you to write this down, take massive action. Now, what would massive action look like in terms of trying to attain this goal of 15 leads, 1,900 per lead, 28,500, 7% commission, 1995 in commission? What would massive action look like to you, Daniel? And this is only for Daniel, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Chester, I see your answer. That's awesome. Great.
I was going to say, this is something that I'm currently sustaining. So for me, massive action is how do I make sure that I don't backslide in any way?
Okay. Okay.
I think the biggest thing would probably be to lean more into the gym, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't do it right now.
Awesome. I love it. All
So
right.
to do that,
Lean more into the gym. And so when you say more, how much are you going right now?
0.
Okay. So would you say if you set a goal to say go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week or something like that, would that be sufficient? Or do you want to go every day for 20, 30, 40 hour, whatever?
Oh, I'd stop after the first week if I went every day. So
Okay.
I'd start small, ramp it up.
Okay. Do you want to start with like 2 days a week or 3 days a week?
Probably 2, so that I
Okay.
could go 1 on the weekends, and then Mondays I have free. So Mondays.
So, all right, perfect. So 2 days during the week, 1 day on weekend. Okay. And what would you do at the gym?
Boy, I would. I'm not in it for ego lifting, man. I'm here to look good, so it'd be all. I don't skip. I wouldn't skip leg day completely, but I'm fine with chicken legs compared to the upper body.
Okay, so you want to look good in your upper body, meaning you want to add some muscle to your body?
Certainly, yes.
Okay, so you want to look good, upper body, muscle. Sweet. Are you a single guy right now?
No.
Okay. Are you wanting to be married?
Yes.
Are you with the person you want to get married to?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. So, all right. So what would be the desired outcome of adding that muscle on your upper body? Let's start there.
Practicing discipline would probably be the biggest benefit to it.
Okay. What would practicing the discipline do for you?
I'm a big believer that how you do one thing is how you do all things.
Mm-hmm.
So being undisciplined in personal fitness it leads to being undisciplined at work, which leads to being undisciplined in
Okay.
relationships. And
So
yada yada.
if you were more disciplined at work, what would you do differently at work?
Probably be speedier about the desk work, the kind of grunt stuff I hate doing.
Okay, desk work. Let me ask you this. When you know your why, sometimes you realize there's a better way. Would it be possible or even feasible to just hire somebody to do the desk work for you at $10 an hour or something like that? Or hire a virtual assistant or something?
I can't lie. I've thought about it. I got a little cousin who'd definitely be good at it.
Okay. So for example, working out at the gym, if you were to have that extra discipline and you just went ahead and said, hey, you know what? I'm making more money now. I'm going to invest in a virtual assistant or my cousin or whatever. I'm going to, have somebody, I'm going to build a team around me to support me. What would having somebody else do the tedious desk work that you don't want to do? What would that allow you to be able to do to improve your sales?
I'd be less emotionally connected. I wouldn't have that negative feeling when there's a complicated quote that I'm like, God dang, I got to put this gosh darn thing together and put together the parts list and yada yada. So I'd be less emotionally connected. You wouldn't get that sinking feeling. I'd be more motivated to close it. Also, just having more mental capacity to run more leads in a week.
Yes.
So instead of running 15 leads in a week, I could run 20, 25.
Yes. Now, think about that, Chester. Don't you think your guys should be focusing in income-producing activities? Because if he's averaging, I think you said $3,000 last week, that means if you gave him an extra 10 more leads, he'd bring in an extra $30,000 a week in revenue to your business. And would it be worth it to hire somebody to do their paperwork for them that would free them up to be able to sell more and make more money? Would that be worth the investment?
I've talked about it.
Yep. So let's something to consider, right? Instead of talking about it, be about it. Just messing with you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
easier said than done, though, right?
Well, I don't know. It's an investment into your business, and it's an investment into their business.
Yeah.
So
I agree. The big thing for me is the details that get missed by bringing somebody else in.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I can totally see
do
that.
things like that.
Yeah. Well, maybe it would be something that could be explored with maybe one person. Maybe for example, let's say Daniel had an assistant that came out with him on jobs, and the assistant did all the paperwork stuff, and Daniel just sold. Just, I don't know. And if it worked for one person, then maybe, I don't know. Just food for thought. I'm not saying it is or isn't. It's just interesting. Okay. All right, so that would be massive action, though, Daniel. Like, imagine if you were getting paid, like if we changed the comp plan, like we talked about a couple months ago, and you were getting, for the same amount of production, you were making more, you could afford to go ahead and take massive action and hire somebody, correct? That would be an example of massive action.
Correct.
Right? Plus, that would free up more time for you to go to the gym, as an example. And then it's like a snowball effect. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Right. And then Chester can afford to invest in, if he's making more profit, he can invest in more leads. He can invest in more locations, more materials, more trucks. And this ultimately reaches Chester's goal that we talked about 3 months ago. Right. 20 million in the next 10 years or something like that, Chester, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Something like that. All right. So do you see how getting clear on the goal helps you realize like what the next possible steps are, right? Next step in the total success formula is massive action. Step number 3 is sensory acuity. What does that mean? Basically means that you're paying attention to your surroundings, and you're paying attention to the results you're getting, and you're paying attention to is this working or is this not? What's not measured can't be tracked, and what's not tracked can't be improved upon. So if we're not tracking how much money we're making, and we're not measuring it, and then we're just paying our bills and going on about the motions, we don't know if we're getting better or not. If we're not keeping pace with our goals and measuring our goals and saying, okay, you know, our efficiency and how many leads and how much volume and all that stuff, if we're not measuring, we can't really improve it. And the more often you measure, the more likely you will be in reaching your goal. So if the goal is to do $1,900 per lead to do 28,500, how many days a week do you work? 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So then your goal, if you divide that by 5 days a week, should be $5,700 in revenue. Okay. So every single day you need to be tracking your revenue. If you had a $6,000 day yesterday, cool. You're a little bit above revenue. If you had a $3,000 day, okay. It's just one day. Just track it. I'm not saying have like, oh my God, I only sold 3,000. That means tomorrow I need to sell this much to catch up. No, you know, you might sell 6,000 or 8,000 the next couple of days, and then boom, you're back at your goal or above your goal. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
And then number 4 is if you're not achieving your goal, if the sensory acuity is the things I'm doing, the massive action I'm taking is not helping me reach my goal, then you know, if you set your goal for, you know, let's say you wanted to do $100,000 a week. Let's just say you wanted to be stupid, right? Well, do you adjust the goal and say, well, $100,000 a week was unrealistic. I really should bring it back down to $30,000 a week or $50,000. Should I do that? Or should I say, okay, my goal is 100,000. This is the desired outcome. This is why I want it. I need to adjust the massive action. I need to take more massive action. Hey, Chester, give me a couple extra leads a week. Hey, Chester, let's go get some commercial jobs. Hey, let's go do what more massive action can I do? Can I take an early appointment? Can I skip these morning meetings with Jeremy? Right? Like, what can I do? What kind of massive action can I be taking? Can you see how this ultimate success formula, getting clear on the outcome or the result that you want, the why behind the goal, right? Taking massive action towards the goal, having the awareness to see, okay, am I on track for my goal? Am I behind pace on my goal? Do I need to adjust the action I'm taking? If I had a really good week, like 40K in 1 week, do I back off the next week? No. Because we know that there's going to be good weeks and bad weeks, so we just keep taking that same massive action. And at the end of the goal, or at the end of it, we adjust. You know, step number 4 is adjust the action. Okay. Now, there's a 5th hidden step in all of this. There's 4 steps, right? What's the 5th step? We've talked about this before. This is why you guys are all here. What's the 5th step? Anybody?
Practice.
No. Hiring a mentor or having a mentor that's done what you want to do and achieve what you want to achieve, and you model the mentor. Modeling. That's the 5th and secret step, because here's the thing, Daniel. If you don't know how to reach your goal, you could take massive action and spin your wheels. And you'd be like, dude, I'm going hard. I got my pedal to the metal. And what'll end up happening is you'll end up burning yourself out. If you're stuck in mud, let's just say, and you're just spinning your wheels and you're out 4-wheeling, you're taking massive action. Oh, maybe I need sensory acuity. I need to turn my wheel to the left. Oh, I need to turn my wheel to the right. Blah, blah, blah. And I got this fucking motor just gunning. And then boom, the engine blows or transmission blows or something, right? Because we're not taking skilled action. But then what happened if you had somebody that knows the trail that we're 4-wheeling on, and they go, hey, let's put this little log underneath right here so you can get some traction. And then boom, you continue up the trail. That's where having a mentor helps collapse time frames and helps you guys achieve the goals. Let's take a pulse of the room here, because I've been on a monologue for a little bit. Does this make sense to everybody?
Absolutely. It's why I joined up with you when I'm starting this new job.
Right. Exactly. Right. So now,
Get
So,
my goals faster.
yep. All right. So let's go back here to the picture I had the whole time. Hopefully, this will put this into perspective. What do you really want, Daniel? Do you really want, $2,000 a lead or $2,250 a lead or whatever? Do you really want that efficiency? Or do you really want the income that comes with the efficiency, assuming that you get the same amount of leads?
Oh, dollar bills, y'all.
Okay,
Dude.
all right. Because sometimes I was the type of person when I was at Leaf Filter, I told my boss when I had a new ops manager, I was like, dude, I would be the happiest if you just gave me 1 or 2 leads. I had a $3,000 net volume per issue. Just let me chill and let me run 1 or 2 leads. You know what he did? He gave me 5 or 6 leads a day, and I made $50K in a month. And while I was really happy to make $50K in a month, I was like, "Fuck, dude!" I was getting worn out because it wasn't what I wanted. Right? What did I really want? What I really wanted was to be able to make 10, 20 grand a month and have some quality of life. What I ended up getting was 50 grand in a month, no quality of life, but pretty cool little pat on the back to be able to say I was the 7th, highest income earner out of 2,000 sales reps for the year. That was pretty cool, right? But that's not what I really wanted in my hunger. I'd probably still be at Leaf Filter today if I was making 200 grand a year and I was just running 2 leads a day. Right? What I really wanted was ample income, quality of life, be able to go to the gym, see my girl, do my thing, have a good just quality of life. That's what I wanted. I'm a 1099 contractor. Why can't you give me that? Instead, what they want to do is they want to squeeze every fucking ounce of juice out of you until you wrinkle up and die, and then they throw you away and replace you with somebody else. They'll do it for another three years or something. So you have to figure out what you really want. So you're talking about making 100 grand, Daniel. Okay. Let's talk about that. Why do you want to make 100 grand a year?
Well, it's a nice round number. But then there's things that come with it. I'm young enough. I'm looking to buy a house sometime in the next 3-5 years.
Yep.
Providing for family, that sort of thing. Idea is retiring early, and to do that, you got to start making good money early. So
I'm writing all this down. Okay, so anything else? What will $100,000 give you?
big old smile, Jeremy. I'd be very happy. I'd feel good about myself with that kind of income.
Okay, how long would you feel good about yourself at $100,000 a year?
Probably, if you aren't growing, you're dying. So if I made the exact same amount of money 2 years in a row, I would be like, I should have done better.
Okay.
All
right. So let me ask you this: all right, so making $100,000 a year will feel good about yourself. By the way, everybody, this is a good point. The only reason why we go for anything is not so we can have something. It's so that we can have a feeling. That's what we're pursuing. We're not going for $100,000 so we can have stacks on stacks on stacks sitting in our safe in our closet. All right? We're not even really doing it about the family or the house or whatever. We're doing it because we think that getting those things will make us feel some type of way. For example, buying a house will make us feel like we accomplished something. Buying a house will make us feel like we're not throwing our money away to rent. Buying a house will make us feel like we're getting ahead in life. Buying a house will make us feel like we have some stability, right? These are examples of why we go for these things. Providing for the family, right? It's like the reason why we want these things is to feel some kind of way. It's to meet one of these basic human emotional needs that we have, all right? Because we don't want that's what we're pursuing. The cool thing is, guys, if you really think about this, you can have these feelings now. You don't have to achieve certain goals to feel that feelings. And frankly, how many times have you ever wanted something and then once you got it, And then you got bored with it after a little while.
Yeah.
Like imagine when you're like, oh, is that it? Like imagine when you were a kid and you got like a video game system or something like that, or some Christmas present that you really, really, really wanted. Like how long before that thing got old? So it's like you go buy a house, you're like, dude, I bought my house. I'm really happy. And then shit starts breaking down. You got to buy new gutters and stuff. And then all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. Right? So again, what do you really want? And awaken the hunger and the purpose. So you said it was a nice round number. Let me ask you this, Daniel: would $150,000 a year, would that be a nice round number, or does it need to be like 200,000?
I guess it depends on what I think is feasible based on, like if I'm running, 15 leads
Right.
and I'm strung out, working, 50, 55 hours and I'm
Right.
making 100K,
Right.
I can't do 200.
Right. Understood.
But assuming that I have all the time in the world, 150 I'd say is a round enough number.
Okay. All right. I was just curious because like I was thinking at the top of this, I was thinking, okay, well, if it's just having a nice round number, why not have 200,000? If you want to buy a house in 3 to 5 years, if you could do that with $100,000, first of all, you can buy a house in less than 3 to 5 years if you're making $100,000, by the way, 2 years. Right? Because you'll have verifiable income on your W-2. Okay? You are W-2, right? Not 1099?
Yes.
Okay. So, in fact, you could probably get one in a year and a half. And then in terms of down payment, like it only requires like 3% down for a FHA conventional loan. So, like how much is a house that you would want to buy in your area? Because I'm sure it's probably more expensive out there than Oklahoma.
280 is probably keen.
So let's say 300K for easy math. So you're talking
Yeah.
$9,000 down plus some closing costs, right? So maybe 15K. So keep that in mind. Okay, how long will it take for me to save 15K? Because if you had a year and a half of like provable income, you could say, hey, I started here in 2022. This is 2020, or I started in 2023. This is what I'm on pace for at 2024. You could probably get approved with decent credit, and debt to income ratios and all those things be in alignment, right? So just so you know. And then you could always, pay the home off earlier. You could always save up the money for home improvements or whatever you want to do. So the 3 to 5 years, like again, finding somebody that has ever bought a house before, right? Finding the mentor, the ultimate success formula, get clear on what the house is that you want, how many rooms, how many bedrooms, what neighborhood, how much is it going to cost, okay, what kind of loan program is it going to be, what's the monthly payment going to be, blah, blah, blah. Figure all those things out. Talk to a realtor, talk to a mortgage officer, get clear on what the goal is. Start taking massive action. I'm paying down my debt, so my debt to income ratio is low so I can afford this house payment. I'm working hard at Aho because I'm trying to save up money for my down payment or my closing costs. This is how much closing costs are going to be. Maybe you negotiate that the seller pays the closing costs. Like there's all sorts of different strategies. Get clear, massive action, sensory acuity, and adjust the action if necessary. You could be in a house in the next year if you wanted to, probably. Right? So
Yes, sir.
So when we get really clear on what it is that we really want, then do you see how it like opens up a world of possibilities here? Right?
Yes.
So 3 to 5 years, retiring early, right? Like when you say retire early, what does that look like? How much money do you have? Where's it coming from? How much, like how much do you have to have as a nest egg? Like, is it an annuity? Are you buying real estate properties or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. Again, ultimate success formula. Find somebody who's retired early and go model what they did. Do what they did. Take massive action on what they did if that's what your goal is. So when you figure out what is it that you really want, it's not to make $100,000 a year at Aho Seamless Gutters. The ultimate goal might be to be able to retire at 40 or whatever with, $200,000, $250,000 a year coming in, right? Or something like that. When we get clear and we develop this vision and our purpose and why do we want this thing? Well, I want to be able to retire at 40 so that I can go be a missionary and travel to Africa and, blah, 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 and, whatever it is. That whatever your vision is, like you have to get clear on what that vision is, the why, the what do you want and why do you want it. And one of the things you can do is you can ask yourself, and then, like 7 times down, go 7 levels deep. And we kind of done this a little bit if you look back on what we started with. What's your goal? Oh, it's to make more than, 2K in blah, 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 right? Now here we are, we're talking about freaking, retiring early because we went so many levels deep. Does this make sense to everybody? All right.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right. Reasons come first, answers come second. So you might say, hey, I want to be able to retire at 40, blah, 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 but I have no idea how I'm going to do that. Once you get clear on the reasons and you understand like the ultimate success formula, then you can go start taking massive action, and then the answers will just come to you as you start taking massive action and you learn this. All right. Step number 2 along the path is find and face the truth. The truth will set you free. Get clear and honest about where you really are right now compared to where you really want to be. So, if the goal is to make $100,000 a year, do you have any idea where you are right now, year-to-date income?
Me?
Yes, you. I'm working
Okay.
on you. We're having a massive intervention on you right now, Daniel.
Okay. So just with Aho, because I started in April, I'm at 350 for a round number, 1,000 total in sales.
Okay.
About half of that time I was hourly plus commission.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let's just say you continued at this rate. That's $24,500 in income on the current comp plan right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say I'm at about 30,000 right now.
Right.
Because that would be 6 months, 5 weeks in a month, $1,000 a week ballpark.
Okay. So this is why we need to get really clear, because the ballpark, right? And you might think you're at 30,000, but the numbers say you're probably at like 20,000. You might be able to ask your whoever the person is in the HR that could tell you year-to-date income. Oh, hell, look at that. Good job, 428. So again, Chester, what you might want to do is text him privately how much money he's made so far this year-to-date, and when your next paycheck is and what you're projected, and then you can extrapolate how many weeks that you've gotten paid. So for example, when I was at Leaf Filter, I was 6 months through the year. I'd made over $200,000 divided by 26 weeks. That was $76.92 a week was what I was averaging there. Almost $8,000 a week. Okay. And I extrapolated that out by 52 weeks. That put me on pace for 400,000. Okay. That math's not right. I was off a little bit. I had made, maybe it was through 7 months. So I extrapolated I was on pace to make $344,000. Okay. I know that for a fact. And I was but then also taking into account that fall was coming, September, October, November. And I was dude, I'm probably going to make somewhere between 350 and 400 grand this year, because my paychecks just kept going up and up and up and up and up. And we were going into the busy time of year. So I was all right, right now I'm on pace for 344, right? Yeah, check your pay stub. But I was I also know that fall is a busier time, so we'll see what happens. Right? So if you get clear on where you are right now, and if you were to say where you want to be is $100,000, let's say it is 30 grand. Let's say your income was correct. Well, you started in April, May, June, July. Let's just say that's 4 months. If you really were at $30,000 divided by 4 months, and that's $7,500 a month times 12 months, you're on pace for $90,000. So if you get clear on where you really are right now compared to where you want to be, you see how there's a $10,000 gap from where you are to where you want to be. Does that make sense, Daniel?
Yes.
Okay. So then we have to be able to say from there is we need to close that $10,000 gap. Okay. So get clear on what's gotten in the way in the past. Like, and for you, it might just be instead of it being a fear or belief or lack of skills or habits or emotions or whatever, you might say, hey, the reason why I'm not where I'm at is because I'm new at this. I'm learning. All right. I didn't have the same skills in the very beginning that I have right now. And if I continue working on my skills and I continue getting more experience, I'm going to crush this goal this next year. I might not hit it this year, but I'm definitely going to hit it next year. And just be clear and hold the mirror up to yourself and say, hey, some of the habits I'm missing is that I'm not going to the gym. Right? If I were to go to the gym and get some more muscle, how you do anything is how you do everything. I'm going to be more disciplined there. I'm going to be more disciplined at work. When I start making more money, I'm going to hire somebody, or I'm going to sell Chester on hiring somebody, and then we're just going to, go crush it this year. Because why not pay somebody $20,000 a year so we can make an extra $100,000 a year? That seems like good math to me, right?
Sounds like good math to me. Means less work for me.
Yeah, exactly. and here's the thing, and then that might free you up to be able to go sell more jobs and blah, 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 right? And then you're at 150 and 200K, okay? I'm going to sell Chester on changing this comp plan because I'm going to start crushing some jobs and selling jobs. And if he doesn't, I'm going to go start my own gutter company or whatever, right? You know what I mean? So then step number 3, resolving and creating a map, a massive action plan is what the MAP stands for. So I am resolved to hit 100K. So what's cool about this is when people make a decision, you're how old? 22 years old?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's say you make $100,000. Let's assume you don't make it this year, but you make it next year. I resolve by 23 years old that I'm going to make $100,000 in a year. Like, that's it. It's taken me 22 years to get to this point, but no longer. I know that this is what I see my identity at, right? And then you're going to say by 25, I want to be making 250. Like, this is my massive action plan from 22 years old to 25 years old, making $250,000 a year. Because if I do that, then I'll be able to buy a house and I'll be able to provide my family and I'll be able to blah, 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 blah. You get all excited and everything, and that awakens your passion and your hunger, and you get clear on what it is that you really want. It goes back to step number 1. And then it's like, what can I do right now that will move me forward in the direction I want? And it's not just about taking massive action all over the place. It's about, okay, if I wrote down all the things that I could start doing right now, and out of all of these things, let's say I wrote down 10 things, what are the 2 that I can do right now that will deliver 80% of the progress towards my goal that I want to achieve? Is lifting weights 3 days a week really what that is? I don't know. Maybe it is. Is hiring an assistant really what it is? Is it going door knocking? Like, what is it exactly? When you realize what the why is, then sometimes you realize the how. There's a better how. And so you focus on your massive action plan, like, all right, dude, for now on, I'm doing blah, blah, blah massive action. I'm focusing on these 2 things because 80-20 rule, these top 2 things are going to be deliver 80% of the results, right? And then you go from there. Then what happens is number 4, it's all fun and games to do it when you're all pumped up, when Jeremy just freaking lit a fire on your ass and you're like, man, I'm going to go do it. And then it's like 3, 4, 5 weeks later, and you're like, you forgot the high of what we were talking about, and you're like, damn, why am I meditating again? Like, this is stupid. What am I getting out of this? Like doing what's hard is changing what needs to be changed, getting the skills that are necessary, taking massive action. You know, maybe it's one of those things where it's like, damn, Chester's not paying for my sales training anymore, but I know that like this is one of those things that if I were to increase my skills and increase my efficiency and get better, and Jeremy's helping me already, like if I just, again, if I look at the tale of the three closers, closer number 1, closer number 2, closer number 3, closer number 1's taking massive action, but then he stops stops taking action after 3 months or 6 months or whatever, right? Closer number 2 is like some of y'all on here that aren't taking any massive action, and then you're wondering why you're not getting the results that you want. And then closer number 3 is like, dude, I'm taking massive action, I'm getting results, like, and okay, Chester's not paying for the training anymore. Fuck it, I'm going to invest in the training with Jeremy just on my own damn self, and it's hard, but I'm going to have to do it. And you get the skills that are necessary, you take the massive action, you watch the replays every single day. If you can't show up live, right, you watch them. You not only do that, you watch them over and over again, because we understand that the 3 pillars of mastery, one of them is total immersion, right? If you're not watching the training, you're not really totally immersed. And number 3 is space repetition. You watch something yesterday that we just played, might not mean a whole lot to you. 3 to 6 months later, you watch that thing, you're like, oh, now I understand. And then light bulb moment, mastery happens, and then all of a sudden you're crushing 250, 350, 450 a year at 25, 30 years old. $500,000, whatever. Is this making sense to everybody? This isn't
Yes.
This isn't Jeremy. This is Tony Robbins. I'm just trying to teach you this. Okay? Number 5, develop a daily practice. Like small daily actions guarantee long-term success. Instead of going to the gym 3 days a week for an hour, what if you went 5 days a week for 30 minutes?
It'd be different.
Same amount of time, but what about that daily action? What if you develop that daily discipline of going to the gym every single day? And it's one of those things where, like I was talking to my neighbor across the street, dude's like 70 years old and still jacked. And, you know, he was complimenting me. He's like, Jeremy, man, I can tell you're getting in shape. I was like, oh, man, thanks. I hurt my back last week. I haven't been working, out this week, but I just started back up this week again, right? And he was like, well, man, he was like, it's just it's a lifetime thing. You can miss a week here or there as long as you just keep going. By the time you get to 70, you'll be as jacked as me. He didn't really say that. I was just thinking that, right? So those small daily actions. So remember the formula for success that that the Underground Closer talked about. Massive action. I want you to write this down. Massive action plus. So if you're not taking massive action, guys, hint number 1. This has come up like 3 different times now. Massive action plus mentorship plus time equals success is inevitable. Inevitable, meaning it's guaranteed. There's no way that if you took the massive action, the right massive action, guided by the right mentor, and you just give it enough time. Part of the thing I would say when I was young, Daniel, is that I would beat myself up because I didn't give myself enough time. One of the things Tony Robbins says, one of my favorite quotes, is he says, a lot of us overestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade or 2 or 3 decades. If I were to estimate what I could do in a year, I think I could do 1 million. When I started this business, I thought I could do $1 million of business in a year. I have vastly overestimated what I was capable in my first year. I thought it would be simple if I just got one person in every office times 200 offices to pay me just $5,000 for a year of coaching. That would be $1 million. It doesn't even have to be a year of coaching. I just got to get 200 people throughout the quarter. I just got to get like 50 people a quarter. That's like 10 a month. That'd be easy. Like I'm lucky if I get 2 or 3 a month. New people, right? On average. And so, but I haven't been taking enough massive action. That's the fact of the matter, right? So I overestimated what I could do in a year, and I think that my maximum top end, what I'm capable of doing, is maybe $1 million in a month of income. Like that was always like my Grant Cardone, like massive action, like what I could like that would be like what I think I could achieve in my lifetime at some point. The maximum is $1 million a month in income. That would be $12 million a year. Well, if you watch Wolf of Wall Street, he made $48 million in a year, and he was pissed off because it was shy of $1 million a week. Right? The opening scene when he's getting head in the Lamborghini, right? On the highway. Remember that? So like I could be vastly underestimating what I could accomplish in a decade. If I just took massive action, there's a possibility in the next year I could make $1 million a month right now in my business. If I took enough massive action and if I had the right mentor. And I know of a mentor that I've invested in, but I haven't been taking massive action in it. And because I have too many fucking focuses on all these different things. So right now I just invested in another mentor to help my ads, Jason Wojo. He manages the ads for Andy Elliott and all these big gurus. Like if I can just help him get me back to where I was a couple months ago, making 30 to 50K a month, cool. That gets me out of survival mode. Then I can start focusing on what I need to do to be able to build to $100,000 a month, $250 a month, $500,000 a month, $1 million a month. Does this make sense? I know we've gone over on time, but just to make it clear, developing the daily practice, like, okay, you have to hire the right mentor, take the massive action plan. It's not going to be easy. You got to do what's hard. Do the daily habits and rituals. If you give yourself enough time and grace, you'll get there. And then you raise your standards and you measure more often, like you just talked about. If you're not growing, you're going to feel disappointed, right? $100,000, you want to make more money the next year. Same thing with me. I don't want to just be making 30 to 50K a month. My goal is to, raise my standards like every quarter. It's like, okay, if you've done 30 to 50K in a month for the last 3 months, now it's time to raise the standard. Let's go 50 to 100K. Okay, let's go 100 to 250. Okay, let's go to, 500K to a million, right? Raise your standards, measure more often. That's why I said if you take your weekly goal and collapse it down to that daily goal, measure more often. What's not measured can't be tracked. What can't be tracked can't be improved upon. So what you measure, if you measure more often, you'll be more likely to hit your goal. Okay? And then, isn't this interesting? Remember, you get what you tolerate in yourself at first and then in others. So I'm not taking massive action, and here I am bitching at you guys about not taking massive action. What a slap in the face. Okay. Number 7 is you achieve the goal, you celebrate it, right? So you had a 40K week, good. Did you celebrate it at all? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Good. All right, good. Celebrate it and build on that success, okay? And then what you do is the process starts all over again. Like if you had a goal of 40K in a week and you hit that goal, guess what you do, brother? Start over at number 1. What do I really want? I want to do 50K in a week. Okay, why do I want to do that? Well, because if I do this and then I do that, okay, well, what's holding you back from hitting 50K a week? Okay, what's your massive action plan to hit 50K a week? Okay, you're going to have to do what's hard, develop daily practice, measure every day, raise your standards. Boom, you hit 50K with the right mentorship, the right massive action, the right amount of time. Boom, you do it, you celebrate, and guess what you do? Start all the way back over from the beginning. Keep doing this over and over and over again, and this is how growth happens, guys. Any questions, comments, concerns? We're past 9 o'clock.
They have to be written down.
They do have to be written down and they have to be, you can't just write them in a journal. I probably got journals in here that's got New Year's resolutions from 10 years ago. But if you don't fucking look at them every day, again, If you don't look at them often, when we talk about measure often, right? It's not really, worth it. So that's why, like, there's some of these things that I talked about, guys, with you guys in the past. Some of you new people don't know this exercise, but the writing it out 50 to 100, or not 50, writing it out for 100 times in the morning and 100 times at night. Like, that's massive action. Like, that's one of the little 20% things that got me the 80% results, but nobody's fucking doing it anymore, right? Everybody that said they're going to do it is no longer in the group anymore, right? So with that being said, it's like, these are the little things that when you find a mentor, Bob Proctor told me this, he achieved this. He said, you know, if you want to achieve something, this is what I do. And I said, well, that won't work. I'm going to try it for 30 days just to prove it wrong. Lo and behold, it fucking worked. What a concept. Hire a mentor. Take massive action. Give yourself enough time. And success is inevitable. All right? Ultimate Success Formula, Bob Proctor, whatever you want to call it, 7 Steps of the Path. It's all the same stuff when it all boils down to it. Guess what? That tells you there's some truth there. Talk to you later, guys.